The hour is upon us. I'd like to call to order the property meeting for the Property Committee of Trempealeau County for January 16th, 2025. Roll call.
Lyon here.
Miller here. Sasha here.
Becker here. All right, all present accounted for. Certification of open meeting law. We're up to speed? Yep. Yeah. Okay, we got an 11-item agenda. I'd like a motion to
Move to approve. Or second.
Motion by Doc, second by Rich. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. Okay, everybody got their minutes from the previous meeting? Any corrections, additions? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Doc to approve. Seconded by Dick. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion carried. Okay, we come up to number 5. We'll have members of the public, we'll have a 15-minute block of time to comment on today's agenda items. Members will be present in person or call in to make such comments. To comment by telephone, please call 715-538-1894. Public comment may be extended or curtailed at the discretion of the committee board/chair and after advisement by committee, board, or council, usually it says. Okay, we'll open that up now if anybody cares to call for 15 minutes. As we wait, we'll move on to number 6, Samuel's group, and Kurt's going to entertain us with
All
some.
right, good afternoon, everyone. I've given you a couple of packets of drawings. One of them is thicker than the other. Let's start with the thick packet first. What you have in your hand, if you look on this front cover sheet, this is the current status of the bid documents. What you have before you, if you look down here, this is the general and the architectural set. What is still on its way is the plumbing, the mechanical, the electrical, and the telecom and data. So I'm giving these to you in hard copy so that you can review them over the course of the next week. And if there are any tweaks or adjustments that you want to make, I do have the second packet that we're going to highlight some potential changes that we need to do in regards to code compliance, and I'd like your feedback. But the elements that you're going to look at here on these documents is more of a layout from the architectural. So that's why I have the architectural for you. When we get the engineering drawings, which we are supposed to get tomorrow at noon, I will email them to all of you. I will also email them to Tim, Jeremy, and Becky. More than likely, Tim and Jeremy are going to spend a majority of the time on the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. You guys may not spend some time in there. You're probably going to look at more layout perspective, right?
Yeah, to us, that's what.
The
priority.
goal of that is I want to give you some time to be able to review these documents. I know Jeremy has already got some information from them in regards to finishes. Tim's going to have to communicate with the engineers in regards to language, in regards to the telecommunications and the data, but I want to be able to get these in your hands so that you can review them. The goal would be that we could get some feedback from you in the next week. So if we could target by next Friday, if there's any correspondence from you on changes that you want to see floor plan wise, you as members of the committee, and then Tim, Jeremy, and Becky in regards to anything from a mechanical, electrical element, we will then get that to the engineers before we submit the bid documents out on the street to bid. The other thing that's going to happen in the next week is my project management team, Kurt and Tad, are going to come and meet with Tim and Jeremy to go over a phasing schedule. So there will be a layout of the floor plan that identifies to bidders where they're going to start and how we're going to work through that existing building so that you can stay in operation while we're still getting the construction done. So you will see these drawings along with all of these in a bid document that goes on the street. And there will also be a couple volumes of the spec book, which, again, the spec book probably won't pertain to you much. It'll be more Tim and Jeremy in regards to the operational components. But my goal would be to get feedback from you by the end of next week, which would be Friday, the 24th. Is that right? Friday, the 24th. So then we can start to get communication out to bidders. Now, there's a couple of things. Because we've made significant revisions from what we already submitted to the state, we do need to resubmit this to the state for review. It was already reviewed and approved once when we bid it the first time, but we made significant changes, so we do need to submit it to the state for their review and comment. With that said, that typically takes they typically ask for 60 days, but because we're doing a resubmittal, we believe it's going to be shorter. We won't know that until we get that submitted to the state. So these are all things that are gonna have to play into the timing of when we can carry this thing out. So, with that said, let's turn to this small packet that has the colored lines on them. The first two pages are dealing with the demolition that's in there, so you can see the areas where we've really tried to reduce the amount of work on the scope, so you can see that the demolition is minimal on that first floor. You can see that the second floor has more demolition in there because we're reworking those courtroom spaces, as well as what we're doing on the south side of that north connecting point. And the two main changes that I need feedback on are on A102. If you look at this clouded portion that's up in this left-hand corner up here, that is the
Which page are you on?
102, A102.
Sorry. Got it?
Up in that upper left-hand corner, you see that red cloud that they have up there, which is the window between the waiting room space and into the ADRC that's there. Because we're continuing that corridor, and there has to be ratings in that corridor, that window right there may need to have a fire shutter, or it will have to be rated glass, that we would then have to have speak-throughs on the outside that allow for us to have the rating. And we have to have a rating on that corridor. So if you want that to be an open window, there needs to be a fire shutter similar to the one that is over here in Clerk of Courts. So there's a cost to that, but it's also one of those elements in regards to having that open space between them, okay?
I think we have to have that, because that person in the office will, attend to people that come into the lobby right there.
Okay, so you would prefer it to be open rather than a rated glass with a speaker. You want it to be so that the window can be open.
Oh, no, I,
Communication, but I think glass would still be,
yes,
that way they can still pass things through,
Yes. Yep,
but there's still kind of a.
yep, there'll be glass, but there'll be a pass-through.
yes.
But the pass-through is not rated, so we need to have a curtain to be able to deal with the rating. Okay, so that's how we would like,
So if there is a pass-through, you need a drop curtain.
yes. Correct.
So they wouldn't, do they ever accept paperwork through there?
Why, cause that's gonna be, I think, for all of human services.
Right.
It's ADRC, human service, everything's
Yeah.
gonna be a back window, so
Yeah.
they're gonna need to get things between each other, but we don't necessarily
It's
want.
gonna be a roll down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kinda like the human services window now, there's a glass there now, it's not quite up to that.
Correct. Okay, so we will have a window that has a pass-through, and there'll be a fire curtain at that opening, okay? Next page, similar to the same thing, and it's really dealing with the treasurer's register of deeds and the county clerk's office, so up in this upper right-hand corner. You'll see Steve has shown now in those clouded areas, he's put doors back on those openings. On the last rendition of this floor plan, those were just pass-throughs or arches. So it would be like a continuation of the corridor. What we run into there is that if we make that a continuation of that corridor, every one of those pass-through windows, the one that goes into the clerk's office, one that goes into treasurer's office, one that goes into register of deeds, would then have to have a fire shutter there. The way we get around that is if we put a door at that opening, that either it is closed, that they have to go into that corridor, or we could have it with a magnetic hold open, so that during business hours, you would open the door to a magnetic hold open. If the fire alarm trips, then the door would close, and it meets compliance in regards to keeping that rating there. Adding those curtains is a significant expense. So I would like to get away from the curtains, but then that means that we have to put the door and magnetic hold opens on there.
We don't necessarily need the magnetic hold.
No.
Just the door, as long as they're closed during the day.
As long as they're closed during the day, we don't need the magnetic hold opens, but if there is a push to say, we want this to be open, then we would need to add them.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if we're putting doors there, that would just add to the privacy of the people that are sitting at the window, so there's not so much noise from the hall.
correct,
It shouldn't be that big of a deal, because putting those magnetic holes is gonna,
yes,
it's gonna be just as almost significant as putting in those rolls
Yes.
down. So just
yes,
reutilizing the doors that are already there is the most cost effective solution.
yep. Jeremy, speaking my language. Does everybody agree with doing that? Of having doors there?
Certainly.
Any input from you, Mary?
Makes sense.
Okay. All right, outside of that, there haven't been changes to the scope of this layout.
What's the other cloud called?
I don't know. Yeah, I think what he did is he just made it ADA compliant, and because we needed an ADA,
And the little red marks where the entry to mount it?
those are horn strobes. That's part of the whole rating of that corridor, so,
Looks like they took one set of those doors that are on the second floor and just moved them into that.
yep,
So they moved them from going east-west to north-south.
correct. Trying to eliminate one set in there. So, those are the changes that we have so far. If you look at the next couple of pages, it's just breaking down in regards to the safety plan and what the departments are that are there. So I won't spend a lot of time going over all of that because you guys will have a week to review these. You will also get an electronic copy. We will email them to you, which will include this packet here, as well as all the mechanical and electrical, so that you can take a look at them. So, Tim?
Are you still putting this material out on the project site, or is that kaput?
Put the material on the project site.
What's it called?
Oh, yeah. Procore will continue. It'll obviously just be separate bid documents that are
The
there.
same link will get me there.
Yes,
Thank you.
yep, yep.
Kurt, if you bring us another set of these in the future,
I know,
have the printing a little bit bigger.
yep. I brought you the
I
big
mean-
ones last time, but this was such a big set, I figured that would be too much to carry, so.
I just said, even with my flashlight, I can't read the
Here,
thing.
Joe.
Everybody here is pretty old, so.
So what I would like to be able to do is I'd like to be able to get your feedback by the end of next Friday on any changes that need to be made so that we can finalize the bid documents for one last final review. And then I want to get it submitted to the state so we get an idea of when state review comes back. Because I do not mind bidding it while it's under state review as long as I can get state review and comments back before we authorize contracts. Because what I don't want to do is have a bunch of changes from the state review that I then have to go back to contractors that are under contract. If I can deal with that in an addendum, then I can handle that. But the timing of when this will go out to bid will have to be determined by what we get back from the state on their time for review. So we're progressing along nicely. I think there's been some good progress made here. And obviously we'll get some more input from Tim and Jeremy in regards to the MEPs, so.
Pressure at the state.
Well, I think it's not so much pressure. We're going to submit to the same reviewer, and we can show that there hasn't been significant changes in regards to the code elements. You know, we've kind of we've reduced scope in a sense, so.
Do you think we need, Kurt, to have Tim and Jeremy go to the department heads and look at this and say, okay, now this, are you happy with this? Or are we gonna?
Jeremy, Tim, and I are meeting at 1:00 on tomorrow, so that we have the project plans that we're supposed to have them by noon. We're gonna meet at 1:00. We're gonna go through it first, and then all the department heads are coming in at 2:00, and we're gonna go through it with the department heads at that time. And then we can get it right back to Kurt and say, go.
Yeah.
What time
I
are you
think-
meeting, Rebecca?
I think,
What was that?
What time are you meeting tomorrow?
1:00, 1:00 or 1:30? I don't know, just the three of us, and then 2:00, everybody, department heads that are involved, yeah.
and again, I don't need it right away tomorrow. I appreciate that, but take some time on the MEPs so we can.
Yeah,
take a look at
that will take longer. We just want to get the department heads,
yeah.
meet with
Floor
them
plan. Yep.
first, yeah.
Yeah, it's good timing to keep everything going.
Will we have another meeting then to gather that information so we make a decision?
I think from a timing perspective, if you guys stick with that second Monday in February on your typically scheduled, we probably won't have it out to bid until then anyway, so I think that'll work. I guess my point is, I don't think you need a special meeting. I think we can,
So when's your earliest date? I know what you said, you don't have a true answer.
Correct.
For bids would go out there, is it
yeah, I would like.
60 days from now or less than that?
I would like to get the project on the street mid-February would be my goal.
Otherwise, we hit
That
too
would be
close to that
good.
early spring bidding.
Correct, yep.
And then we lose, yeah,
The
okay.
only thing that would stop me from doing that is if I come back from the state and they say they need a full 2 months.
Okay,
Right? So
okay,
we can
good.
have it, the bid cycle would be 2 to 3 weeks after we submit it to the contractors so that we could still get that March opening.
Just a little over a month from now.
Correct.
Yeah, great.
Then you'd have a March opening, and then it would take them a while to get going on it. You're talking maybe, what, June, May or June
Oh,
start?
no. If we have a March opening, we can get contracts let and start right away, especially with this being demolition and that sort of thing.
We did hear a lot at that meeting we were at, that the construction there's not as much as
Correct.
there was. So we should get some, yeah.
Yep, the bid should
We
be
should
good.
get good pricing,
Yep.
hopefully, knock wood.
All right, clear as mud?
See, Kurt, I can't, you got mud in here? All
Thank you.
right. Does anybody have any questions for Kurt? If not, we'll move on. Thank you, Kurt. And let's see, we'll go ahead one more. All right. Next up, IT. Tim, you have anything for us?
Okay, so we have many things that are kicking off now. We did get word on half of the key project that is going to allow us to move dispatch into their new home. We've been contacted by the EZNet representative for AT&T, and the project lead has been assigned. We're meeting with them next Tuesday. That's for the connectivity piece of getting everything connected into the dispatch center, and we'll have to tussle with AT&T and Brightspeed on that to make sure it goes into the right place. We don't want it going into the old, and so hopefully we'll get through that quickly. And then we have word from the sheriff that we're close to getting a project lead assigned for the other half of that project, which is the Vesta equipment, which then would cover both pieces of the grant that is supposed to be spent before the end of June. So we're looking at second quarter, probably moving dispatch. So that'll be a major undertaking for our department. The GCS replacement, the permitting program, T-Tech, that migration is going to start soon. So that'll involve the treasurer's office, land records, and some components of registered deeds and the like. So we'll be working on that. A project lead in IT has been assigned. Tyler and UKG, which you approved last month, we've already started moving forward. We're taking meetings over the next couple weeks on project kickoffs, and the implementation starts almost immediately with Tyler. We've got a list of about a half a dozen items we have to get cleaned up in IT to get ready for that. UKG, we have yet to meet, and we don't know what's going to be impacting us there. And then, of course, making it all work together and work with the other state programs and interfaces is going to be a process over the next 18 months for IT. For the rest of the staff, they'll be going through the workflow processes and the fields and trying to get those applications set up. So we'll be assisting in that systems analysis and that process as well. That's going to probably be myself and another team member pretty much a lot of the time. We're moving some application front ends because we have some old equipment that was identified by the penetration testing as being a consistent problem for the organization from a security standpoint. We have the advanced virtualized system set up and ready to go. It's just a matter of securing some assistance in migrating some of the applications themselves over. They're proprietary, so you gotta got to spend some money with OPG3 to get the Laserfish header moved over. It's specialized information. So that's going to be going on over the next month. And then starting next week, we've already done our pilot project and testing for moving to the new grant-funded security solution that we have here. It's replacing the expiring desktop and server-based, cloud-based antivirus malware program. We're going with a new one, and that's going to take some desk touching time, so my staff will be having to hit about 250 devices, and anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes per device, so it's going to take us a few weeks to get through that. That's about all I've got for you right now. Any questions?
Well, it's good to hear that you're gonna get that dispatch moved over. That'll be nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. It's been,
It'll be a little work for you guys, a lot of work for you guys. But it's good to hear, and
Just
appreciate
to
all
think
the hard
about
work you guys do.
like the IT and just the dispatch piece, the renovation of the building, and then that whole financial HR system. I mean, really, it is huge. So I just want to thank them, and it's just a lot on their plate for 2025 and into 26. So thank you.
we're just, we're going to really try and deliver the best we can for dispatch. They've been waiting a long time. I have talked to some fellow department heads who've had to move dispatch centers, and I've been given fair warning that it's a bit of an ordeal that goes beyond anything you've done before. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, good luck. I hope everything goes smooth.
Me too.
Anybody have any questions for him? For Tim? If not, thank you, Tim. I'd like to, at this time, we'll close the public comment period and move on to number 8, maintenance update, Jeremy.
So nothing too significant over the past month. We've still just been working, closing out some warranty issues. There was an issue that we discovered over the summer where when we were running off the generator for a little bit, a good portion of the toilets in the jail would not function off of the generator. We were able to narrow down what that issue was, and that should be corrected here in the next, hopefully in the next week. So it's not a very big issue. It was just a lot of programming issues that were causing that problems. The automatic openers on the exits have been installed. Now I'm just waiting on Accurate Controls to change the controls on the double set of doors, because right now those, you can push the button to open the operator, but the doors are still latched because you have to push the bar in. That's a programming issue that Accurate Control has to change so those bars stay retracted all day, just like the entrance ones do. And then the one on the single door has to get redone by the auto door company, because that one also, that bar is locked out and you have to push it in to open the door. But I can't set that one to be unlocked all day because it beats the purpose of having the security at that point. So that one will be programmed when you hit the button, it will also retract the door. I was also asked a while ago on the door that you come through security to try to get a price to make that door a little bit wider, because we have a few people here in the community that their wheelchair, they use the extra large wheelchairs. We are in ADA compliance with the size of the door that's currently there. I did get a price, and it was just shy of $15,000 to add 4 inches to that door. It's not cost effective for me, for the county, to make that change at this particular time. It's something I can address in the future if it becomes a problem, but right now it's been a limited issue. We have the price if we need to move forward with it at some point in time, but it's not anything that, in my opinion, needs to be addressed right now.
And we're compliant, right?
The walkthrough, right, when you walk through past security, yes, it's just adding a few inches to that door to make it, there's an extra large wheelchair down there right now that won't fit through the door when that wheelchair is all the way opened up, but a standard wheelchair, a standard wide wheelchair fits through there with no issues.
What about the door when you leave then?
We would, if we were to do this, I'd only have to do one,
Yeah.
because then that person would have to come back and forth through the same door. And it would be cheaper to do the one, if we were to do it, it would be cheaper to do it at the end, because that's where all the least amount of wires are. I got a bundle this big that comes out at the beginning by the first door, Then it's a smaller bundle, that way we don't have to. So just an FYI on that one.
Is the scanner, the, walkthrough, is that allowed?
No, so when you come across that situation, that person is then pushed off to the side in a chair and hand wanded. Yep. In the jail, we've had some issues with some of the doors and the sliders, and then in turn, I've had issues with the company that installed a bunch of that stuff. So I did set up with a company that we used to do prior that's gonna be coming in and doing the PMs and the repairs on the stuff and training myself and my staff on some of the things that we haven't worked on because they're newer than some of the older stuff there. This last company, the last time I had an emergency on a slider, it took them 6 weeks to get here, and me calling the president of the company. This other company, I called them on Monday, and they were here Wednesday morning. So it's a little bit faster of a turnaround at that point.
This is in the new,
In the new facility. Yeah, and it's all warranty stuff.
Okay.
That's still kicked in, and I checked beforehand, anything that's going to be a warranty on any of the parts are manufactured. It doesn't matter who the person putting it in is. The labor portion from the installer is expiring soon, but the parts have a different warranty period, and that is still going, it doesn't matter if I had company A buy it or company B buy it, it's still under a warranty. Nothing else extravagant. I'm gonna be, obviously, starting tomorrow, be a little bit busy going through a couple bits of paperwork. I have taken the past few days here to go through the finish schedule, though, and there was a few things that I did address with the design team, changing some flooring that they had in certain areas that needed to be not carpet or not vinyl. Some ceiling tiles, a lot of it was just making some tweaks so that it all matched or that it wasn't unnecessarily done. So that stuff I addressed with her today, so she could finalize that before the deadline tomorrow to get all of us the paperwork. So, and then after that, I'll just be going through to making sure readers, cameras, card readers, cameras, electrical with Tim, anything like that is kind of what we were looking at, so. Other than that, no other issues unless you have any questions for me.
anybody have any questions for Jeremy? I just want to add that, to thank Jeremy for getting this new government sign put above the door, so you know what's actually in this building. It's pretty nice, it looks good with the white
Boulevard
letters, I like
sign
that.
And then the header letting.
The sign out there, yeah, and the lettering above the door, I thought that was good because people, they didn't know exactly where to go, so thank you for doing that.
Yep.
You got the flip chart or anything on that, you wanted to comment on that?
No, I'm still just waiting on the part from Travis, from the deputy downstairs. I have my stuff done, and then the sheriff's department just has their piece to change up so that we could update everything. So I can follow up with Travis, though, later today. And the next item, too, I did talk to Susan about the purchasing policy.
Yeah.
She didn't put that on there, and she doesn't know if it was Paul Severson previous, but from Susan's standpoint, it doesn't need to carry over, because she has nothing to say on the purchasing policy on your next.
Oh, she doesn't want to change that? I know we were talking about it a couple meetings ago.
Yeah, but as for right now, I asked
She has
her
nothing.
this morning at the meeting, it wasn't her that requested it being on there, and she doesn't, at least court counsel doesn't need it on there right now.
Okay.
I will just say, I did not put that on there, but Susan and I have had a lot of discussions about this as well, and so we're kind of looking at our schedules, and we were planning on us internally starting to talk about that in like May, and starting to work on that and bringing things forward and start bringing it through committee at that time, so that hopefully by fall, we would have that in place.
Because we've had this on here for quite a few meetings, and,
Yeah.
okay, well, we'll just
Yeah,
keep, we can just,
Yeah, Susan does
I'll
not
check
have
with you before
time,
the
and
next meeting
I don't
and
have
see,
time, and, yeah. So we're looking out and thinking that's kind of where we feel in our schedules, we can start to work on that.
okay.
Yeah, and she was under the impression I was too, that kind of got put on around the time that I was requesting to purchase the tractor that I did. That caused a question that got put on there for that, but that was resolved, and then it wouldn't need to be until Becky or Susan brought it back
And
again.
it's probably not a real priority issue, is it?
No, it was just, I don't know, we were gonna look at it and it just never
Yeah.
came out, so.
Lot
All
going on.
right. Nobody have anything else for Jeremy? Okay, no flip chart, no purchasing policy. The next date for the next meeting will be February 10th at 8:30. Okay with everybody? And if something comes up, Kurt, with all this, and we have to have a special one before that, just, we'll contact everybody, but hopefully we won't, and it'll be smooth. All right, are we okay with the next meeting? Well, we've accomplished everything on the agenda, and I'll adjourn the meeting.